Alright, sup y'all? Let me just check. Okay, my microphone's working. Hooray. So, today we'll be talking about lessons, chapter 2, lessons 7, 8, and 9. I'll be doing the first half and then Dominic will take over. So in this lesson for lesson 7, we will be talking about parallel lines and transversals. Now, a transversal is a line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at two different points. So, an example of that, as you can see, we have our transversal P right here, and it's a line, and it's intersecting at two different coplanar lines. See, it's intersecting through W and S. So yeah, transversal, and So so as you can see, the transversal P is passing through the two lines. Now, line P forms 8 different angles from W and S, and all these angles have different names. These are the 8 angles right here. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, those ones. So these angles have different names. Now, the interior, which let's color that in green. The interior is in between both lines, coplanar lines, and we're gonna color that in green. And the 4 angles that are in the interior are called interior angles. So the angles would be 3, 4, and 5 and 6. Those are our interior angles. Now, and just like interior angles, there has to be an exterior. So there's exterior angles. Let's color this. Let's go red. The exterior angles are the outsides. So basically wherever the green isn't. And so right here it'd be 1 and 2 and 7 and 8. Those are our exterior angles. So yeah. So those are our exterior angles and those are interior angles. Now, there are other angles, and the first one we're going to talk about are consecutive interior angles. Now, these angles, they're made up of 2 numbers. So, it'd be 4 and 3, or maybe just 2 numbers, so it could be like 2 and 8. So, there are other angles. So, they lie on the transversal line, which is P. These are consecutive angles, by the way. They're on the line, which is transversal P, which is this one right here. And they're both in the interior and on the same line. So our interior angles, our consecutive interior angles would be 4 and 5 and 3 and 6, because they're on our transversal and they're in the interior. See? So it would be 4 and 5 and 3 and 6. Those are our consecutive interior angles. Now, alternate interior angles are also in the interior, because, in the name. They always got it in the name for some reason. And they are on the opposite sides of the transversal line, and they are non-adjacent interior angles. And in this example, ours would be 3 and 5 and 4 and 6, because they're on the transversal, and they're on the opposite sides, and they're non-adjacent. So it'd be 4 and 6 and 3 and 5. Those are our alternate interior angles. Now, just like interior, we gotta have exterior, right? So we have alternate exterior angles, which is basically the same thing. They lie on the opposite sides of the transversal P, and all the differences, they're on different sides. They're in the exterior. So it'd be 1 and 7, because they're both in the exterior, and they're alternate, so they're on different sides of the line, and they're not adjacent. And 2 and 8. So those are alternate exterior angles. And now the last angles we have are called corresponding angles. These angles lie on the transversal P. They're on the transversal P, and they are on the same side of lines with W and S, which is our example right here. So our corresponding angles would be 1 and 5, 4 and 8, 2 and 6, 3 and 7. those are our corresponding angles. Because like I said, they are on the same side of lines W and S. So right here and right here, this is S, they're on the same side, W, see how it's on this side, left side, top left. 5 is on the top left of S. So yeah, those are our corresponding angles. Now we're going to be doing an example, and we're going to use the 4 different angles. So what helps me and will probably help you is at least remembering that this is our interior and this is our exteriors. So we already know what our interior and exterior angles are. So let's say we're trying to find our corresponding ones. It would be 1 and 5, because our definition of corresponding angles were that they lie on the transversal D, and they're on the same side of lines as W and S, just like that. Just like that, we have our U and R, and they're lying on the same line. So 1 and 5 would be one corresponding. Another one would be 4 and 8, 2 and 6, 3 and 7. Now, our alternate interior angles, they're alternate, so they're going to be on opposite sides. So it'll be 4 and 6, because they're not adjacent, and they're in the interior, so they're alternate. Or it could be 3 and 5 as well. Let's do one more. Let's do consecutive interior. Consecutive interior is they're on the same line and they're adjacent from each other. So consecutive would be we're in the interior, so consecutive interior, and it'd be 4 and 5 or 3 and 6. Those would be our consecutive interior angles. All right, so hopefully you got that down. Now we'll move on to the next part and final part, which is parallel lines and angle pairs. So parallel lines are 2 lines that don't intersect, and these lines are also coplanar. I can't say that word right. Anyways, these 2 lines right here, they are parallel to each other because they aren't crossing each other like this. There's no intersection right there, which means that they are parallel because they're right next to each other, going the same area, going the same place. So, and they're not intersecting. So those are parallel lines. So we're going to show you an example of that in here. Now these arrows right here indicate that the lines are parallel. So that's how we know that these lines are going to be parallel. I forgot my little arrows. So yeah, we know that's parallel. So those are that's an example of parallel line in one of those. So now that hopefully you got that one down, let's go over here to how you write that it's a parallel line. So you see this arrow on top of the 2 points, J and S? That this right here says is how you write it out. So you put J and S because that's a line, and to say that it's a line, you just put an arrow over them like that. That's how you say it's a line. And just like that, P and D. Just say that they're parallel. You just put 2 lines going right next to each other as parallel. That is how you would say that they are parallel, how you would write it out. Now, in order to, So, now that we are done with that, we will go down to skew lines. So, we just delete all this so you can see. Skew lines are lines that don't intersect and are not coplanar. An example would look something like this. As you can see right here, this box right here, these are called parallel planes. The planes do not intersect, and they are the line inside there is covered around by the box, so that's how we know it's a parallel plane. So that is what a parallel plane is. And skew lines, like I said, they do not intersect and they are not coplanar. So skew lines is just another word for parallel lines, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, and now we're done with Lesson 7. So now we will go on to lesson 8, and I'll be talking about it a little bit, and then Dominic will take over. So we're going to talk about slope of a line. The slope of a line is also can be thought of as a steepness. Steepness. It can be steepness or slope of a hill, and it's described by the ratio of the hill's vertical rise to its horizontal run. So, say we have something like this little coordinate plane. We have our 2 points. Now, in order to find the slope of this, we have to have our formula. Our formula right here, m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1 is our formula. M is slope, is just a letter for slope. And if you don't know what sub coordinates are, you see how we have our 2 coordinates that we took up from up here? We basically just name them. So you know how a coordinate is x and y? We'll put a little 1 as our first coordinate, x1 and y1. And since it's the second our coordinate, we'll just put x2 and y2. So we just plug it in, really. So y2 minus y1, so it'd be 3 minus 2 like that. And x2 minus x1, 5 minus 1. So we'll put that like that, and we have our slope m. M equals 3 minus 2 over 5 minus 1. And that equals 1 over 4. So our slope is 1 over 4. And that's how we find our slope in that. Now, the final thing I'll be talking about is slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is, the formula for this is y equals mx plus b. We know that m is the slope and b is our y-intercept. So let's say we have a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of 8. All you got to do is really just plug it into the formula like we did over there. Our slope goes in the m, so it'll be y equals 3x, and our y-intercept is 8, so it'll be plus 8. And that's how you plug in your slope-intercept form. So yeah, that's the formula for slope-intercept form, and that is how you find your slope up here. So that is it for my part. Now we will head over to Dom.